listening to The Front Porch Show. Some shows are niche shows, talking about specific topics. Others, shows about nothing. This show is the show about everything. On The Front Porch Show, we'll talk about current events, some news, a little bit of politics, along with a whole lot of life. Welcome to our Front Porch. 1-402-799-1811 is our message line number. You are live with The Front Porch Show. Tombstone is incognito today, but Jeff is back. He did not fall into a bucket of paint.
It was pretty close. It was touch and go there for a minute. But,
how did it go, Jeff? I mean,
it's looking pretty good. It's mostly done. There's some little touch-up spots that I need to get to, either where we oversprayed on the trim that we had already previously painted,
right,
or, just spots where the sprayer couldn't get up the different levels of the house where the peaks come together, stuff like that.
Gotcha. I was going to ask you about that. So you sprayed it. I mean,
we did spray it. Had a buddy of mine. We swapped some work. He owns a construction company.
Nice.
Does a lot of different stuff. And so we swapped some work. I helped him replumb his entire basement at his house.
Nice.
Put in a new well bladder, new water heater, put in a whole home filtration system.
Good times.
Converted every bit of copper we could get to in the basement to that PEX piping.
Oh, yeah.
If you're familiar with it.
I am.
Which is interesting. It's pretty easy. It's actually pretty straightforward to do once you learn it and get the hang of it.
It's easy stuff, but having been in the insurance industry, insurance companies don't like it.
Which is interesting because I asked him, because for those listeners, I guess, not knowing what PEX is, it's plastic piping. It's essentially plastic piping, and with a job we're doing, you're buying it on the reel.
Oh, yeah.
You're not doing little sticks of it. So I think we use 3/4 PEX, and it's just, it fits over. It essentially, you got the pipe, and whenever you need a fitting, it fits over like a barb type fitting.
Yeah.
And then you crimp a metal collar around it, a specialized metal collar with these crimpers. And that's how you do it.
It's super easy to work with.
Super easy. It's way easier than like sweating copper together or anything like that, for all the copper piping.
What do you say? I did my whole house in copper.
Yes, and he can do it.
But there's a reason. There's a reason I did that, though. I mean, there's convenience with PEX. PEX is super easy.
Exactly. And he said, I said, I'm surprised, this plastic stuff, people trust it. And he said, well, it's been out for probably about 15 years.
Yep.
And he's like, I've really watched it in the industry for at least the last 10, and it's been accepted and used, and it's doing pretty well. Pros and cons to it. The nice thing is, now we still did it pretty clean. We did, unions where we needed to do unions as far as like making some 90s and some stuff like that, some T's. But the nice thing is you get a spot where it's a little awkward and you have to do like 4 different copper connections to go around the corner, and you're just like, flex the pipe a little bit.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's
the
the cool
water
thing.
actually flows better through the, that curved flex
right, because it
corner
doesn't have
than
those
the hard
90s.
90 with everything.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
So we did that a couple weekends ago, and then it was just trying to get both our schedules and the weather to cooperate for an exterior paint job in my house.
The weather's been miserable. We're trying to finish ours too. Yeah. So, I mean, I can totally relate.
So we finally got a stretch of days. As a matter of fact, the day we finished the major job, there was like all day was pretty good, but that evening there was like a 50% chance of thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Really, with its aluminum siding we're painting over, it's a good quality exterior paint, but it's latex.
Right.
So you really wanted it to get probably a good 24 hours at least before anything rained on it.
Yep.
So we took the gamble and painted, because a couple other times we had called it off for some, about 50-50 rain, and it hadn't.
Yeah.
And it worked out. It didn't rain. So it's looking pretty good. And, we'll see from here. We only ended up doing 1 coat, but we put it on nice and thick, and it looked pretty good. So
the picture you sent me looked gorgeous. It looked beautiful.
We might maybe next spring, because basically both of us are out of time for at least another month. So we needed to take all the masking down and everything. Because we started out, I was at work for part of it, and he sprayed all the white aluminum trim around the windows and stuff. I'm painting the soffits and fascia by hand. And he he got done with that, I got home from work, and we were going to start the green.
Yeah.
It's a bluish green color in the afternoon for the main part of the house. And we were just going to try to do that.
What's the technical color?
It is called Rookwood Sash Green.
Nice.
From Sherwin-Williams is the technical color. Yeah. So he, although in the sunlight on the back of the house when we first put it on, I thought it was like Michigan State green, and I was like,
it's funny because you sent two pictures. The one on the front looks bluer than the back.
Yeah, in the shade, when the color is in the shade, it has much more of a bluish green hue to it. When it's in the full on sunlight, it's just green.
Isn't that funny?
No, I got worried, and then my wife, I kind of texted her. I was like, hey, it looks a little more green than I thought, and she was like, yeah, it's green. Like, that's the color she wants. Like, okay.
You don't mess with that.
It also looks better on the front of the house because we have like a whitish color brick on a lot of the front of the house.
Yeah, that's true.
The whole back of the house is the paint.
The contrast is pretty cool.
The contrast is good on the front of the house, and then we're doing cedar shutters, and we're going to do cedar fascia on the peak of the front of the house. So that'll really make it pop.
Good times.
Yeah, so we tried to do the main body of the house, the green color, by just shielding all the like white that we had done, and it was just going to take forever. And we're like, the right way to do it is we were trying to force it because of our schedules. Yeah. So I went out that night, bought the yellow frog tape, which is kind of expensive, but it's very gentle, and spent the evening taping off everything we had painted that day for the trim, and then we came back and sprayed it the next day, and then it went pretty well. Full day of spraying. It went on. We were expecting with the aluminum, and the aluminum on my house was like bare, like it was rough, and it was probably the original paint job from this house when it was built. Now,
did you like power wash it first before you did it?
I had scrubbed it and power washed it with bleach and TSP solution.
Oh yeah,
so that was a couple weeks ago, but
still, it should be fine.
It was pretty good. And so it was ready to go. But yeah, especially after cleaning it, it looked real. The back of my house looked like it had just come back from a bombing raid over Berlin. It was shiny silver, and it apparently had encountered a hailstorm at one point because there's definitely some.
That's wild. Good times.
But yeah, it's looking good.
That's awesome.
Just some touch-up spots. It'll probably take me 6 months to finish touching up because that's how those things go.
As I turn and I look and see that I don't have window trim up on my windows yet. So we sprayed our house. We went out and bought one of those $250 sprayers that fits in like the 5-gallon paint can.
Okay.
And so big, huge, substantial sprayer.
This one, this one that he had is massive. We could have run 2 guns off this one.
Oh yeah. This is basically the same thing then. And so I painted the entire inside of our house in two coats in about 2 hours.
Brand new build, nothing in it.
Oh, I know, it was
just
great.
Throw the white paint in and go. That's amazing.
I masked all the windows.
Yeah, and then just
most of the doors. I think I masked too. I don't remember how I did it, but I went through. I was completely white. Like I was more pasty white than I am now when I was done.
The thing is with spraying, and he warned me about this. He's like, it's going to feel terrible because you're going to spend like 90% of your time masking and moving ladders and doing all this other junk, and the spraying is going to take like 10% of the time.
Oh yeah,
when you're just spraying, it goes quick.
So we did the same to our exterior. So our exterior, we only actually ended up getting because we had rain, we ended up getting like 50% of it done, sprayed when it was still on the ground. So before we even put it up, so we laid all the siding out. Sprayed it all. The best story, and I don't think I've ever told this on the air or to another soul. So you guys feel honored about this. I was away on business and asked Alyssa, "Hey, babe, we gotta do a coat of paint, and we gotta get more painted." And she goes, "Okay, I'll go out and do it." And she goes out and paints it. And it rains that night.
Oh.
And so she's out there like 8 o'clock at night painting this stupid stuff. And then it rains like 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, and washes all of it off.
This is all of it?
Just gone. Completely gone. Completely gone. And I was like, That's just how it goes. You know, what can you do though? What can you do? A lot to get to today, Jeff. As much as I hate doing it, we got to dive into the Epstein stuff. Epstein is just getting weirder and weirder.
Yeah, and I hate it. I've been gone a couple weeks. Work and other things have pulled me away, and the house. And
I mean,
I haven't even been following a lot of current events. So you're gonna lead me on this one a little bit.
No, that'll be fun to get to. We also have the guy who was found in a car with whiskey, guns, a rattlesnake, and plutonium. That and much
like
more.
A good weekend.
Five, four, three, two, one, zero, ignition, liftoff.
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is. Yes.
Teach a child to read, and he or her will be able to pass a literacy test.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And the fact that he is wrapping his arms around Putin while Putin is continuing to advance into Korea.
Wrong.
So I still don't get that. While Putin is continuing to advance in North Korea.
Well, he's all over the place. He's in our election. He's in the North Korean elections, because they hold those every couple years.
Right.
He's just everywhere.
I hear you. Makes sense. So we toyed with going to the Epstein story right off the bat, and I kind of wanted to just get to that right away because I want to get rid of the weird stories first, because that's just so Jeffrey Epstein.
So to be clear,
yeah,
most of the stories you select are weird stories, but
they are in a way
weird on a different level.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
this is uncomfortably weird.
So you've got Jeffrey Epstein, and just for any parents listening to this with kids, we're gonna keep it as tame as can possibly be, but just know that this is not a fun topic.
And Tombstone's gone, so we should be fairly.
So we
safe.
should be fine because his mic is muted, unless he randomly calls in and is like, "Hey." So yeah, no. Just beware. We will keep this segment to around 10 minutes. That way, when you can tune back in with your kids. So Jeffrey Epstein, he's credited as a billionaire financier who only takes investments from billionaires, right? And he doesn't let anyone know who his client list is or anything. It's very secretive, very hush hush. His companies are set up in the tax haven of St. Thomas, which is a U.S. territory, but because of banking regulations and banking laws, they don't actually have to give any information. Very similar to like Swiss bank accounts. They don't have to give much information. And so he is supposedly made billions off of these people from investing their money. That's all good and well. Until 2006, when he's finally arrested for, underage sexual encounters with a minor, which is he was preying on these girls. And anyways, to make a long story short, that's back in 2006. And he gets a sweetheart deal from federal prosecutors, putting him in jail for 12 months?
And did he name names? Is that how he got the deal?
No. They didn't say how he got the deal at all, other than the federal prosecutors thought it was fine. Now, the interesting thing is the U.S. attorney in Florida who who was prosecuting him was Acosta, the labor secretary, who just yesterday, we're July 13th right now, who just yesterday or the day before resigned because of the controversy around his giving Epstein a sweetheart deal. Things get weirder, though, when Wall Street hedge fund brokers have never even transferred money with Epstein, have never worked with him at all, have never traded or fielded any of the millions and billions of dollars that he supposedly has invested.
Wait, you're saying none of the money he supposedly invested has been invested, or just a portion?
None of the money has ever passed hands through any of the brokerage firms in New York City that typically help manage these hedge funds.
Interesting.
Yep. So there is no record of any money coming from his company and going through these companies as investments. Because typically the way it works is a hedge fund will get the money, and then they'll go through different brokerage firms in order to invest that money. Well, there's been no transfer of money that way. And so you've got nothing.
So the question is, what's all the money for?
What's all the money for? Where is it going? How is it being invested? And how is Epstein living large in a $153 million mansion in New York City and owns 2 islands off of St. Thomas and a huge ranch in New Mexico? How did he get his money? And,
all Americans live that way, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I certainly do. I'll be going to my island later this afternoon.
I like it.
Just to chill. Because, that's what you do on the weekends. You just go to your private island that every single American owns.
One of your private islands.
One of them. Why did you have to tell folks? They're only supposed to know about one.
Show game.
So, yeah, just super, super weird. A lot of secrecy. Obviously, rich people are secretive. Billionaires tend to be very secluded and secretive. But you've got Epstein, who was a socialite, who threw giant, questionable, or I guess parties of ill repute at his houses that attracted politicians and business owners and lots and lots of people. Just super, super weird stuff.
Basically, the little bit I've followed this and seen of this with how busy I've been lately, the big thing around all this is not that he's now under investigation and all this stuff again for these types of crimes, these disgusting crimes. It's who else is involved and what big names is he going to name. It's what's in the little black book is basically the big push behind all this.
And so the ultimate question is who. I've had the suspicion since 2006. I'm weird. I've been following politics for a long time, and in 2006, I asked the same question. How is he getting such a lenient deal? Who is he rolling on? What is he doing? And so my first thought back then was he's got to be working with the government. Like he's got to be either naming names or he's working with one of the 3-letter agencies. Like as an agent or something.
Isn't that what some of the claims are? Like that they say that the part of the reason he got the deal is they were told he's in intelligence, don't touch him or something like that. That's where some of that's what some of the conspiracies are saying.
And so I don't know what it is, but then there's the other theory that came out that basically what he does is he invites these socialites over to his mansions, records them doing questionable things with minors, absolutely repulsive things with minors, to clarify that, and then blackmails them into quote-unquote investing.
Oh, I'm sure he's got blackmail on people.
And so then what ends up happening is he doesn't actually end up investing it in brokerage firms. What he does is he invests it in stock market index funds. which are basically very broad. It follows the market. So if the S&P 500 goes up 10 points, your money goes up 10 points. It's just blanket, goes right up.
Yeah, they're indexed to a specific market, so that
exactly.
Follow the market. Yeah,
exactly. So, which is super easy, and you don't actually have to have people actually making those investments, because he's always purported that he is the man making all of the trades. Well, how can one man manage literally billions and billions and billions of dollars? There's no way one person can trade that much. Even a good mutual fund has multiple people on staff in order to actually manage those transactions. Because mutual funds are constantly trading and bettering themselves, and so you've got a mutual fund manager, but we're not talking about billions upon billions upon billions of dollars here. We're talking, in the mutual fund case, we're talking about billions and billions, though, in Epstein's case. So it's just not possible.
Basically, is there any surprise that some super secretive, well-connected billionaire is corrupt?
No, I guess not.
That's just basic human nature, right? Power,
maybe,
lust, money.
Maybe, yeah. No, I don't disagree with you. I think it's going to be interesting to watch this as it unfolds.
Of course, all sides are turning it to pick their favorite political target. There's been rumblings. There's been rumblings that Trump, and everyone's rushing to disavow themselves of him. So there's rumblings that Trump knows him. There's more than rumblings, but evidence that Bill Clinton hung out with him. Although he has tried to distance him. So that's one thing I did see in here. He's tried to distance himself.
He's tried to.
So, it's more, I mean, obviously there's some shocking and disgusting revelations, but then it's who all's going to go down. Grab the popcorn, sit back.
Do you actually think anyone's going to go down? I think a couple low-level folks will.
In this day and age, probably not.
No.
Do we all wish it was like some movie, like the pinnacle of some movie where finally it all comes out and all these corrupt people get taken down?
No.
Yeah, we wish, but that's not how it works, unfortunately.
Do you remember watching The International? That was the movie with Clive Owen. And, they uncover this huge, scheme within the International Bank, I think, over in Europe. Anyways, it uncovers this huge conspiracy, and then in the end, it just kind of gets brushed under the rug.
It's a less satisfying plot device, but a much more realistic take.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
We eat ribs and whatnot and listen to salsa music. You see where I'm coming from?
Free ponies for all Americans, one of the overlooked issues in America today.
Jeff, when I say Miley Cyrus won't reproduce until she's confident that her kids can live on Earth with fish, what do you think?
Well, at first I think, when I hear the first half of that, I think, thank God. With the clarifier that she's confident her kid can live on an Earth with fish, well, then I'm like, oh no. So she is going to reproduce because we currently live on an Earth with fish. So I don't know whether to be terrified or thankful, I guess.
So I don't know if this was drug-induced or something.
Most likely.
She will not consider having kids due to global warming-related anxiety. vowing not to reproduce until she is confident her offspring can, and I quote, live on an earth with fish in the water.
Well, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen fish in the water, I guess. It's been getting rough.
I'm just saying if this is the case, we need to start eliminating fish.
There it is. Get rid of fishing licenses. Get rid of any.
Oh no!
Any limits.
No! Yeah, no limits. No limits. Just let everyone fish. Yes.
Yep.
Reel them in.
So I guess the problem is, here's the problem, Mathis. I see now as I look in this article.
Yes.
According to her, we've been doing the same thing to Earth that we do to women.
Yes.
We just take and expect it to keep producing.
Isn't she married to Liam Hemsworth, Thor's brother?
Oh yeah.
I think she is. He was the dude from Red Dawn, right?
Was he in Red Dawn?
I think he was Red. Yeah, he was the Red Dawn guy.
I thought Chris Hemsworth was in Red Dawn, but
no, Chris Hemsworth is Thor.
Yeah, I know, but
they look alike.
I don't keep track of all this. Maybe you're right. Maybe
apparently they have a brother too, Luke, who's also an actor. He was in the Hunger Games.
Nope, I was right. Red Dawn, 2012. Chris Hemsworth.
Really?
Was Jed Eckert. Yes.
Oh, so he was okay. So
didn't think I was crazy.
So Liam was in the Hunger Games.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
He was. He was in all the Hunger Games. He's actually not in a ton of stuff, which is interesting.
Either way, I mean, he's got to be desperate if he's married to her.
Well, yeah. What?
Maybe he hates himself because his brother is so popular. So this is like self-punishment.
This is him getting back at it. Although I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. But all I have to say is, like I said, when I see the first half of that article, second.
Okay,
hang
so
on
Jeff,
hang on here.
What? You're gone. They called you.
All right. Sorry, that was Director Fear. I mean, my boss.
Direct superiors.
Yeah. I won't say which agency he works with, but no. All right. Well, that's the call. I hate to do this to you, Mathis, but I am going to have to bounce.
So next segment, I guess we'll be joined by the Alyssa.
Is she gonna fill in for me?
Well, she's going to have to. I mean, there's no options right now. I mean, you're gone. Tombstone's gone. The world is ending. Miley Cyrus isn't having babies.
That's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But, well, yeah, I don't know that Alyssa, has quite the same dark sense of humor that I might bring to the show.
No, but I'll try to coax it out of her, though.
Hopefully she can fill in my stead. So,
hey, catch you later, Jeff. Don't die on your trips to some strange foreign country.
It was good to be back, even if for a short amount of time.
All right, we'll catch you later, man. We'll be right back.
For example, the first thing that we make now, instead of a cuckoo clock, see, this is a poo-poo clock. And what we did see is we took them turds and we crammed them in between the number there, so that's 130, 230, 330. The turds are all local. We just go out and track the moose, and wherever the moose are, they're going to take a crap. And I have found that when a moose takes a dump, you walk about 50 yards in any direction and they take another dump. And when a moose takes a dump, they'll crap out between 200 and 400 turds every time they take a crap. So it's like I get $5 a turd for these things. So I get jumping right up and down. I get excited when I see a turd.
And there we have it. We are back with another segment of the Front Porch Show. Jeff is no longer with us. He's gone. But we are joined by Alyssa.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Not to be outdone with Jeff leaving us. I mean, we pulled you in and we had mic issues. Yep. We had iPad issues. We had...
I feel like anytime technology is involved, there's going to be gremlins somewhere.
Well, there always are. So we're running a backup mic for Alyssa. So if it is scratchy or funny sounding or anything, I have attempted to fix it, but I'm not. I don't know.
We're using the backup mic that should probably not be a backup mic.
We're using the $9 backup mic, which is a for those of you who know anything about audio, it's a condenser mic, so it picks up everything in the room. And so sometimes you may actually end up hearing me talk because, yeah, I mean, it just...
But you're working your magic, and it sounds just fine to me.
Well, no offense, but... See, it just picked me up there. It just picked me up.
I didn't hear it.
I heard me through your mic.
See how horrible my ears are.
Well, and, I think that's part of the challenge. We are in a very live room here. We've tried to deaden the sound in it quite a bit. We've got sound panels up, but the problem is we've got this arched ceiling that it gets a little boomy.
A little bouncy.
A little bouncy with the sound, and plus you don't have any sound panels near you, so...
No.
So your wall doesn't really help at all.
That's true.
And it also doesn't help that I am talking towards you.
Should I come put a blanket up between us?
Put up a blanket between us so we can't see each other. It'll make it a whole lot easier. So no, we're gonna attempt to make this work. Technology. What can I say? I mean, love it or hate it. It
both.
There are days that I wish technology didn't exist, but then the audience wouldn't have the presence of the Front Porch Show.
I think you'd have a hard time without it.
Probably, maybe. I don't know. There's days.
Yeah, but even then, information at your fingertips.
I think that's the big thing right there is the information at my fingertips. I love being able to look up things at the drop of a hat and just know something.
Yeah, like knowing about clocks made with poop.
Excuse me? Oh, well, yeah, right. Gotcha. I missed what you were saying there. I'm sorry. I missed that. Wow, over my head. Right over my head. So thank you for joining us or joining me.
There's Jeff, two of you now.
Jeff got me and the guy in my pocket, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jeff got called away last segment here, and mysterious. Like a he's like a vapor in the wind sometimes.
You just never know.
He just drifts away and gone. Wow. So where were we?
We weren't anywhere.
We weren't anywhere. Where Jeff and I were going, we had just finished talking about the whole Miley Cyrus thing, where Miley Cyrus isn't going to have babies until all the bodies of water in the world have fish in them. Because of climate change.
Okay.
Such an interesting. So
I'd heard that headline, but I didn't know it was Miley Cyrus. That makes it even more humorous.
Right. So the funny thing is that as soon as I heard Miley Cyrus, I started, and I know it's a totally different person because it was actually it was Katy Perry with Left Shark.
Okay.
Back like 4 Super Bowls ago, where she had the sharks and the palm trees up on stage dancing with her during the Super Bowl party.
I remember.
And Left Shark wasn't doing any of the moves.
Poor Left Shark.
And
this was before Baby Shark.
This was well before Baby Shark.
Well, not really. Before it was popularized.
When did Baby Shark come out? I mean,
it's like an ancient camping song.
No.
Yes.
I feel weird about that then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
ancient is probably,
ancient meaning like a couple years,
as in when our parents were kids.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't think I'd ever heard that until, the age of the interwebs.
Yeah.
So, baby shark, do. Anyways, where were we going? I wanted to go to, okay, I had a question for you. Weird question.
Yeah.
When was the last time you specifically went to a movie theater in order to see a comedy movie?
The last time I can think of where I actually sought out a comedy movie was when we went to see My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, I think it was.
Or 2?
Or 2? Is
two.
Are there just 2 or 3?
It would have been 2, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to think that through. I can't recall like a really great comedy movie.
Right. Like
out.
That's specifically a comedy. There's other movies I can think of that have some comedy in it, but that's not the main.
The last Thor, or the last Avengers, had a lot of humor in it, but not a comedy.
That was definitely not a comedy.
Not a comedy. I had a couple others. Over the years
we saw Pixels.
Pixels was good. Pixels was a comedy.
But even then, yeah, it's a comedy, but yeah, I guess it is a full-fledged comedy.
It is a full-fledged comedy. It's a great full-fledged comedy.
Yeah.
But like compared to back in the 90s, it seemed like there was a comedy coming out all the time in the 90s. Mm-hmm. So I watched, I've been doing some throwbacks on Amazon, on Prime Video, and I watched For Rich or For Poor the other night. That's with Tim Allen and Kirstie Alley.
Yeah.
That's where they're Amish.
They pretend to be.
They pretend to be Amish. Which great, hilarious movie. A little bit rougher language-wise than I remembered.
Yeah. But I mean, the end is redeeming.
The end is very redeeming. Yeah. And it just goes to show you, yeah, it's just a great movie. Fell asleep watching Rush Hour last night with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
Oh wow. I've never seen that. I've heard a lot about it, but I've never seen it. Mm-hmm.
There was, what else? I watched another thing recently, another comedy recently from the 90s. I don't remember. I was trying to think about like modern comedies.
I mean, I could think of some like Kevin James movies.
Right. So Here Comes the Boom. I watched that a couple nights ago.
Yeah. And what's the one recent. Where he's a spy?
That was Memoirs of an International Assassin.
Which, is that a Netflix movie?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And so that was my other thought, is like we watched a movie the other night with Adam Sandler and the chick from Friends. What's her name?
Jennifer Aniston?
Jennifer Aniston. We watched that the other night, and that was pretty funny.
Yeah, but that was more like a murder mystery / comedy.
Right. Well, but I think there was enough crossover to where it was. Yeah. It worked.
I mean, anything with Adam Sandler is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be
geared towards comedy.
Adam Sandler. My only issue.
Has he done a serious role?
I don't know. I remember him in The Wedding Singer.
Because you can think of like Will Ferrell and people like that. They've done serious roles, but
50 First Dates.
Yeah,
I remember
comedy.
him in
which that's got to be one of my favorites.
That's a good one. He's got a couple solid ones. He's got the Bedtime Stories one.
Yeah,
that was cute.
Yeah.
Cute movie.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of. He's got a bunch of funny ones out there, but they're not like, I don't know. I think one of the issues is like you have the Adam Sandler comedy, which is kind of, it's humorous. Most of the time, it's not raunchy. Although he
tends toward,
he can tend that way.
Yeah,
but it's not that R-rated raunchy humor.
No, it's not like, yeah.
And so, like, I was thinking, like, recently there's been this like whole slew of movies that have come out that are tanking, like comedies that are tanking.
Yeah.
And it's that R-rated raunchy humor that just
like
I
Ted.
can't. Oh, that was so here's a view behind the curtain. We were going to attend a movie with, well, Matthew and Juliet. They've been on the show before, with Matthew and Juliet from Vermont, and we were going to attend a show with them.
I don't even remember what movie it was we wanted to see.
I don't know what movie it was. Don't remember. Don't have a clue. This was like just at the dawn of internet on your phone. I mean, this was most people didn't have it still, and I don't think I had it. Anyway, so we're talking, and we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go see a movie, and we get there and it's sold out. Yeah. I don't remember what it was, and then Juliet is like, hey, there's this movie with Mark Wahlberg, and there's a teddy bear in it, and, you know, we should see it.
It looks cute.
It looks cute. And we're like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, why not? I'm sitting here giving my, I don't even know what to say, face.
You all know what we're talking about.
It was a movie.
Yep.
Some parts were humorous.
It had its moments.
It did. It had its moments. But for the most part, just wasn't there. Just wasn't there. Anyways, so like as a whole, I can't recall like a great, like an absolutely incredibly great over the other guys. That was a fun one.
I was just thinking that. Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the most comedy out of the Marvel.
But even then, that's a drama. A drama.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Sci-fi.
It's not purely.
No,
comedy.
It's not solely comedy. But it's like I can't help but wonder if Hollywood is trending towards this raunchy humor,
right?
Thinking that
like
people
Deadpool.
Want it. Okay, yeah, there you go, Deadpool.
That's more on the raunchy side.
Yeah, there you go. But it's like I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, it's just weird. But then, as a whole, are movies even doing that well? Sure, you have the $1 billion made by Avengers this last time, but when it comes to movies as a whole, can you think of it used to be that there was like a couple, amazing movies that would come out,
right? Well, think about it this way: what are the top names that come to your mind when you think comedian?
Comedian,
like actor.
Most of them are doing TV stuff.
That do comedy.
Most of them are doing TV stuff.
Adam Sandler, like we talked about.
Okay.
Kevin James.
Okay.
But can you think of like any typecast comedy actors or actresses?
I don't know. That's a good question. I honestly don't know.
I mean, when you think way back, you had teams like Laurel and Hardy, you had Abbott and Costello, stuff like that. We don't even have that anymore, do we?
I don't know. You have people who get together for short periods of time, I guess, and do several movies together. You have what's his? The guy who does stuff with Adam Sandler, Ula there, from 50 First Dates. What is Rob Schneider?
Yeah,
and he and Rob Schneider were doing stuff for a long time together.
Yeah, but it's not like they were a
but they were
comedy duo. But yes,
I wouldn't say
I
they were
what
a comedy duo. No, you had
even Robin Williams is no longer with us.
Right. Well, right, but Will Ferrell, for instance.
Yes.
Will Ferrell
definitely.
and what's his face?
Oh, the other guy.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
John something.
That's funny. I don't know his name.
It's terrible, but he's in a bunch of movies with him. I watched Talladega Nights the other night. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's a comedy that's borders on raunch.
Yeah. But it's like there's hardly any like good, clean, fun comedies anymore.
Like family comedy.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just because I was thinking about that with the kids the other day. It's like you sit there and you go looking for something funny for the kids to watch with you, and it's like,
right.
There's just not much out there.
I pulled out Herbie for Myron the other day.
Which there's like a dozen of those, by the way.
Oh, I know. And they actually both sat there and were glued.
Yeah.
Through the whole thing. And it's like an hour and 40 minutes.
I mean, granted, we took the kids to see The Secret Life of Pets 2 the other day.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
Which that's a comedy.
Which we talked about that on the show.
I guess you could say.
Yeah, and that was somewhat of a comedy, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
The kids probably didn't see it as comedy. We saw it as comedy.
Right.
As adults.
I feel like a lot of kids' movies are like that.
Yeah.
It's like they throw the comedy in there so the parents aren't completely just...
aren't bored to absolute tears.
By the way, it's John C. Reilly.
There you go. That's his name.
Yep.
I knew that.
Which, honestly, I don't know if I've ever realized what his name was.
I told you his name was John.
Funny.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting thought. I mean, I think that being said, there are a lot more movies coming out nowadays.
Right, and different venues. Like you've got Amazon making movies, and you've got Netflix making movies, and Hulu, and all these different, places. They're just skipping the theater even.
Yeah, I mean, to what we said the other day. I mean, both movies that we watched, the one with Kevin James there, Memoirs of an International Assassin, that was a great one that he did.
Yeah.
You had the other one that we watched the other night with Adam Sandler. I mean, the whole movies. I mean, think about our theater in town, though. Our theater in town's changing. We had our local theater. It's a town of 24,000 people. We're not talking huge town here, and they removed all of their stadium seating for the movies, and they installed the
right.
They call them the Dream Loungers or something. So, anyways, it's the seats where it's all the recliners.
Right.
And they kept the same price point, which was fascinating. Which makes me think that they are thinking that because everyone has a home theater.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm sitting right across from our home theater now. Our studio's in our family room.
Right.
It is. I'm literally looking across the control board, across from Alyssa, to the 65-inch television up on the wall, and I've got my surround sound system hooked up. I've got my sound dampening panels set up. I can, for all intents and purposes, get better audio out of my home theater system than I can get when I go to a movie.
Yeah.
And so they almost have to go to the Dream Lounge or whatever. I mean, I know people who have those seats in their houses, have those seats in their home theaters, and it's like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? There's no motivation to not, I guess.
But seeing little Myron's eyes when we walked into that theater room and the screen was so big and he was just overwhelmed.
Absolutely blown away. It was a blast. I love the movie going experience. Don't get me wrong.
It's a fun community experience, but even we're losing more and more of that.
But I think coupled with a lot of these movies that are coming out are just terrible movies. They're not good.
Yeah.
One of the ones I want to see is Yesterday. It's the one about the Beatles.
Right.
Or that guy, which maybe... Oh, we have something else we need to see Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Bummer. Ah, man. Now I'm having second thoughts. Anyways,
both.
Yesterday, it's the movie about the guy who... He's the only person in the world who remembers the Beatles.
Right. Something happens, like he gets hit on the head or something, and he wakes up and nobody knows who the Beatles are.
Yeah, which is, it's
hilarious.
It's incredibly clever. The storyline seems really clever, and I like those weird oddity storylines.
And so he writes, dozens of hits.
Right. Which is, it's just so funny and ironic.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh inside. And no, I just don't think that there are those. I don't think there are those like incredible movies coming out all the time, if you will.
Right. People flock to like the Star Wars franchise and the Marvel franchise and, Pixar and Disney stuff, which Disney's, and the whole remake everything.
Well, and that kills me too. I can't stand that people are remaking everything. What was the one the other day I heard that they're remaking? Charlie's Angels.
Oh yeah, that doesn't even seem like that was that long ago.
It was back 2000. They did Charlie's Angels with Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu.
How does that warrant a remake already?
That's a good question.
People are just running out of.
I don't know if it's people running out of ideas or we're just getting lazy as a movie writing society.
Or there's too many actors to employ. You got to do something with them. I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. A lot of times we end up rehashing the same story because there's only so many different ways you can tell a story before you start kind of. But one of my favorite things nowadays is like Netflix grabbing a series and creating a series out of the story and turning it into this long saga where you actually have the character development.
Yeah.
You see that with well, I mean, for instance, the biggest ones on Netflix and Prime and all that stuff now, you've got The Americans, you've got House of Cards, and you've got Sneaky Pete, you've got Stranger Things, you've got
yeah, I feel like
there's a whole bunch of these.
Netflix and Amazon seem to be coming out with more original content.
But right, it's original content because you're creating these characters.
And I think they're not as bound to sticking to the guidelines, like the Hollywood guidelines.
What do you mean?
I don't know. They're actually willing to address issues that might be more controversial that people wouldn't go to a theater to see.
I always think they end up leaning very hard liberal on those. Is that true? I mean, so we were watching, and there's another season out now, Designated Survivor.
Yeah.
And end of season 2, they end up going very hard political left.
Yeah.
The guy, Kiefer Sutherland, was supposedly a moderate, right? And
right, supposed to be right in the middle.
You know, and immediately they demonize gun owners.
Right.
You know, gun owners, you know, need to just get over themselves and start accepting these laws because they're safe for everyone. It's common sense.
Yeah.
And
no, there's definitely, and they have the platform to do that.
And I'm okay with that.
And
I'm not saying that's wrong.
There are things I think where they will tend more liberal.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's other things that are just. I recently watched. It was an Amazon movie with Steve Carell. I think it was called Beautiful Boy or something like that, and it's about cocaine addiction.
Okay.
And it's very heavy, and like I don't see people going to a theater to see that.
Right.
But it's based on a book, you know, that a guy wrote about his kid that went through this, and it's just a very real, raw. But I don't think people would go to the theater. Yeah, no, I agree. I think I agree with you on that. I mean, there are things that you are able to talk about in that venue a lot easier, I guess. Yeah, and they're taking the liberty to do that, which I think is kind of cool. And that is not rehashing. So do you think they are more cautious in the theater? Well, I think they pander more. Interesting. Trying to hit those big demographics instead of interesting thoughts. Let us know on the Facebook page or on the message line 1402-799-1811. What are your favorite movies? What really is getting you fired up right now? Any comedies that you've seen? I love a good comedy, but I just haven't seen a good one in a long time. Let us know what you think.
Must have been a bad batch around here because Floyd counties went crazy in the last 4 days. When I finally got down here to the house to look see what happened, the door was standing wide open. It looked like he was packing up for a yard sale when he come out. He was lying, throwing his hands, saying stuff like, I didn't do it, you know how roads do, and blaming on everybody else. He did pull a gun on me when I got back around the house because I guess he thought I was upset with him. Who steals a cheese grater? He's got the words, Lysol. He stole an empty bottle of spray. What got me the most was my soap. He stole my soap. Who steals soap?
You're back with the Front Porch Show, www.thefrontporchshow.com. Don't forget, you can listen to us on the web at our website, or you can check us out at Spotify, Twitter, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, iHeart, Google Play, and a variety of other places where you can hear your favorite online content.
I couldn't keep it all straight.
What do you mean you couldn't keep it all straight?
There's so many different.
There's so many different places where you can get the show. Also, if you love the show, we would love for you to reach out to your local radio stations. We are in some attempts right now to turn the show into a daily show, live daily show. And so we obviously wouldn't deprive the folks of the podcast aspect of it. And so you guys would still be getting the show every day. But if you live somewhere where there's a radio station, which odds are you do, unless you're on the moon, give the local radio station a call and tell them to check out www.thefrontporchshow.com and tell them you would like to hear the show on their station. That would help us go a long way. And also drop us an email and let us know what station you called. Because as soon as you call them and let them know, we will reach out with a package and send them a package and tell them, hey, our listeners in your area want to hear our show. So
absolutely,
do us a favor, do that for us. Also, if you get a chance, if you could click on the subscribe button, that helps us know how many people are subscribed. That helps also with reaching out to sponsors and to stations alike. Also, if you could give us a review. Reviews help us a ton because we know what you like, what you're thinking, and what you want to hear more of. You could very easily jump on there and say you want to hear less of my voice.
Or, yell at Tombstone.
I'll probably tell you no. Or, yes, you can call, you can call, leave a message.
At the Front Porch Show.
Yes, Tombstone at thefrontporchshow.com. All right. You did some research, Alyssa, during the break. I
just looked up Herbie because you said there was like a dozen movies, and it looks like there's 6. And the last one was 2005 with Lindsay Lohan.
So really, there was only 5 Herbie movies, 5 real Herbie movies.
Right. One of them has Don Knotts in it, which I didn't realize.
I remember that one.
Monte Carlo.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But yeah, so none of them are remakes. And I was actually thinking that is one movie that they could easily remake, the original one. Because Lindsay Lohan is in the 2005 one.
That's Lohan.
And
Lohan.
Lohan.
There, you got to say it right.
Oh my.
Is she still crazy?
I don't know. I just saw a picture of her now and I was like weirded out what she looks like now.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah. And it's not a remake. It's just she finds Herbie in a junkyard. And
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So is it using the original car? Well, or what's supposed to be the original car?
Well, yeah. I mean, it looks like the original car.
Found the... Okay, so it's not like they used a new VW.
No.
By the way, VW is all done with the Beetle.
With the Beetle.
It's all done.
Makes my heart sad.
All done. They have been building those since the year before the end of World War II, I believe.
But are they bringing the bus back?
They're bringing a sorry rendition of the bus back. So, look, I don't want a hippie van unless it is from the 50s.
An actual hippie van.
An actual hippie van. But those are so expensive. I will probably never end up with one.
Are they making the new ones already?
I think they're yeah, I saw a picture when I was in VW picking up brake parts the other day.
That's funny.
Or oil filters,
I think I see a picture here. It is kind of butt ugly.
Yeah.
It's just not the same.
No, it's not. It really isn't. There was something gloriously ugly about the old one that I fell in love with.
It's so ugly that it's pretty.
I know. I absolutely love the old one. The old one just has that panache.
I mean, the new one is extremely similar. They just modernized it.
Yeah, and I
LED lights.
But I'm okay with that. I don't like the shape of the nose.
Yeah,
I don't like the bulbous nose.
I don't either.
Had they kept the same shape and form, I'm cool with it. So my dream...
The shape is the same, except for the nose.
My thing is this. I would love to take an old VW bus, put in like a V6 engine, and then kit it out with all the modern accessories of a new vehicle, right? stereo system, the airbags and everything, just to, make sure it's all safe and cool and everything. I'm even cool with the LED lights on it. Okay.
So it's electric.
Okay. So let's go to a story out of Oklahoma.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it. It's all electric.
Yeah.
No motor in it.
Because it's electric. I'm not sure. I'd have to do some more reading if it's completely electric or yeah.
Well, we don't need to bore the audience with.
No, they say they want to make the fully electric, fully connected car.
Okay, so that's what it is. Well, I'm bummed. VW said they were doing that anyways with all of their stuff, and that by a certain year they wanted to be done with.
Their beautiful diesel gas mileage was dashed.
Diesel miles per gallon, fuel mileage.
Yes.
You said gas mileage.
Is that incorrect?
Yeah, because that would be gasoline.
Oh, and diesel gas. Yeah, makes absolutely no sense.
That wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm. Diesel mileage?
Diesel. No, well, diesel, they're fuel mileage. Yeah. No, I think we can be specific about that. Okay. Anyways, so pivoting to Oklahoma, I want to take you guys to Guthrie, Oklahoma, and on June 26th, police pulled over a car driven by Stephen Jennings, and unfortunately, they found more than they bargained for. It was about 11 a.m. when an officer noticed that his car tags were expired. Not rare. I've been pulled over for that before.
Yes.
4 months after they expired. By an officer that we go to church with. There were guns in the vehicle for starters. Well, his passenger Rachel Riviera was charged with possession of a firearm by a former felony. After a former felony conviction. So that's immediate no. Felons aren't supposed to own firearms. The officers then found that the vehicle had been reported stolen. Well, that's interesting. Then as they searched the vehicle, they found a bottle of Kentucky Deluxe whiskey and, well, a rattlesnake.
Okay.
Yes. So let's just chalk this up. Stolen vehicle, felon passenger with a firearm, bottle of whiskey, and a rattlesnake. Okay.
By passenger, do you mean driver? There was only one person?
There were two.
There were
two.
Okay.
Two people. Now, so yeah. We chalked that up.
Were they like snake handlers or something?
No, but the problem is that's not all they found. Not all they found. They also found a canister of radioactive powdered uranium.
What?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
So the rattlesnake was in a terrarium in the back seat. The Jennings, the driver, was charged with possession of a stolen vehicle, transporting an open container, operating a motor vehicle with a suspended license, and failure to carry a security verification form, which I don't know what that is. I don't know
Weird.
what that is at all. They're still wondering what the uranium was for. They don't have a clue.
Where do you get that? I mean, you can't just walk in your grocery store and be like, "Hey, can I have some?"
I would like 3 kilos of yellow cake. No, I mean you really can't just do that. It's not like you go to your local
I mean, do they have ties? Like, are they workers in plants or something?
Oh no, what plant would you work in that they would let you leave with a canister of uranium?
Well, obviously they wouldn't let you, but I'm saying that they would get their hands on it.
Like, I mean, it was specifically in a canister.
Like they had put it in a canister?
Like it was in the canister as in to protect them. I don't know.
Like a lead-lined canister?
Well, I don't know. So...
Or is lead actually not...
Common No, so lead...
Would water be better?
Lead will prevent uranium... lead will prevent the radioactive particles from emanating from that canister.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is that we have these misconceptions with radioactivity. And we assume that everything is, like, if someone says radioactive, like, everyone's going to die or something. That couldn't be further from the truth.
Right.
Everything to some extent or form is radioactive.
Right.
And is emanating some sort of particles. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you have alpha, beta, gamma radiation. You have alpha, which is basically you can. How does that work? Alpha's just like dust and stuff, I guess. Beta or alpha bounces off your skin. Beta can be washed off. Gamma is what will actually pierce through you. So funky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the gamma can be stopped by lead and can be also stopped by water.
Right.
So literally like a water curtain or something can stop that.
Just jump behind a waterfall.
Well, basically, yeah, no, seriously.
Jump in the shower.
Yeah, no, like shower is not a curtain though.
No, it's not.
So unless you have like
amazing.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be so cool. You step into your shower through a sheet of water.
That's way too. Write this down. Write this down. I need this. I'm thinking we could do that. Like we can build a pool outside.
See, you wouldn't have a shower door at all. The water would be
your door.
The door.
Just it would splash all over. No, I always thought it'd be cool to have a pool, right?
Yeah.
And then have what do they call those? With the waterfall coming over the rocks.
Yeah.
I forget what they call that.
Well, they make like opulent showers that don't have doors. They're just so big and the entryway is so long that they don't need it.
I inspect houses like that all the time.
I know. So, I mean,
Which
you could do that and do the
theoretically could, but
the water curtain.
What do you need a water curtain for, though? I mean, it's like
cool.
I would rather have it outside in my pool, like pouring over the rock grotto. That's what they call it, the grotto.
Mm.
I think that'd be beautiful. I just sit there underneath the. Yeah, that sounds really nice.
You would sit underneath it?
Underneath the water cascading off the rocks.
Yeah, see, that's different. I'm thinking like a sheet, like an actual curtain.
I just Miyagi'd another fly. This is the third one in 2 days.
I think these are just stupid flies.
So you're not crediting my skill at all.
You've got some skill, yes. But they're also stupid flies.
I just caught another fly between my fingers.
I just caught one in the bathroom before I came up.
In the window?
In the window.
See, that's not the same. This is, I reached up, went clip, and I grabbed him. Third time in 2 days.
Awesome.
We're having a tragic fly issue in our house right now.
It's not that bad.
I killed 10 flies yesterday.
Yes, I know.
By the way, the bedroom window probably needs to be washed.
But compared to the house in Vermont, we are having no issues.
That is a very good point. So back to uranium, back to radiation. Did you hear about the Russian sub off of Norway? That big news articles were out about this past week.
I saw a headline. I didn't
and they were
look
saying
at it at all.
that it was coming in like 80,000 times the natural limit for radiation.
Yeah, I saw that.
Such a disingenuous article, though. Okay, bunch of articles came out about that, all citing basically back to the same Gizmodo article. And the problem is that the Russians had been down there. They've tested the sub. They knew that there was a radioactive pipe or a vent in the sub, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when they take a sample from inside the vent in the sub, it comes back at like 800,000 over the normal Norwegian sea limits, right?
Yeah.
And, well, everyone's freaking out because it's 800,000 times over the limit, over the normal, right?
Right.
But what people don't understand is that literally if you take the same measurement, you take a sample 5 feet away, there's nothing.
Hmm.
And that's because of water.
Right.
That is the power of the water.
Right.
Okay. People are freaking out about Fukushima. I'm not saying it wasn't a bad thing. I'm not saying it wasn't a tragedy. I'm not saying that we still aren't having or going to have ongoing ecological issues because of Fukushima.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. Has anyone looked at Chernobyl recently?
I don't know.
I mean, no, like that wasn't really one of those questions, Alyssa.
No,
this was because I have.
Oh, okay. I think for most people, that's probably not a rhetorical question. I've looked at Chernobyl recently.
Okay, so Chernobyl, we talked about it a couple weeks ago on the show. Chernobyl, the wildlife is back. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. People still aren't living in the quote-unquote contamination zone just because, for the most part, they're afraid of it.
Yeah.
Number two, some of the soil is still contaminated technically.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you eat stuff off that soil, you may end up being contaminated.
Yeah. Okay, so like if you grow stuff in the soil?
Maybe, but
all
the plants and animals are thriving there. So there was a
unless
doctor.
They've adapted.
There was a doctor back in the, maybe it was 70s or 80s, who did a whole bunch of tests, and they discovered that there was an actual amount of radiation that was okay for people. And in fact showed that there were some benefits of being exposed to this radiation, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that if you go over the certain amount, everyone ends up with cancer. I wish maybe I could call her up and get her on the show. My aunt, one of my dad's sisters, was a patient on a base in Connecticut to get her what are the tonsils fixed, right? Removed, fixed, whatever that you want to call it. Anyways, this doctor was doing experiments on these kids and ended up shoving like a radioactive thing down her throat.
Nice.
And she ended up with like thyroid cancer because of it. And it was just super, super funky weird.
Yeah.
But goes to show you that, even something that in some cases can be helpful in some ways is also very, very dangerous in others. Another weird radiation story. We're just bombarding. If you know anything about nuclear, that's kind of a great reference. Bombarding you guys with nuclear stories. I watched a video the other day. It was from 2018. Maybe it was 17 or 16. It was about the British troops that were stationed over in the Pacific during the testing of the atomic bombs.
Yeah.
So these guys, they did this interview with them, and they're like, yeah, one day they told us all to get in formation. They loaded us onto ships, and they told us to stand there with our backs to the island.
Yeah.
And then they told them, well, yeah, you should, put your arm in put your eyes, avert your eyes, put your face in the crook of your arm, or cover your eyes with your hands.
Yeah.
Like a couple minutes later, the bomb went off.
Yeah.
And they said, number one, super crazy weird, because they could see through their hands, through their eyes closed. The x-rays.
Weird.
Just like you see x-rays on they could actually see through their eyes, through their closed eyes, and see the bones in their hands.
Uh-huh.
And same with their arms, like in the crook of their arm, they could actually see their arms. Super, super, super weird.
X-ray vision. It's a real thing.
It could be. See?
I don't know if it's worth it.
They said that when it hit, it felt like they were burning inside, which makes sense. Makes absolute sense. You're literally being cooked,
right?
In a way, it's like you were stuck in a microwave.
Almost. Yeah.
Except a little bit different. Microwaves work under a different concept, but no, so like 20,000 of these guys over the course of several tests were exposed to this stuff, and I think he said 20,000, and I think 2,000 are still surviving, and most of those people, over 50%, died of cancers or just a really bad situation.
Yeah.
So, anyways, where were we going with that? Oh, radiation.
Yeah, the guy in Oklahoma.
The guy in Oklahoma. I mean,
it's uranium.
Isn't this amazing where we go on this show? We start with one topic and end up going through 4 others, like rapid fire. And now the whole entire Front Porch audience knows everything that I know about nuclear. Kind of.
You know.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
The essence of the American character is to explore new horizons and to tame new frontiers. We must have American dominance in space. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces.
So it looks like it takes about 20 hours from our home base, home studios here in northeast Nebraska, to drive out to Groom Lake, Nevada.
What's in Groom Lake?
Well, since you've asked, if you haven't heard by now, there's got bigger issues. You're probably spending too much time with the kids. 600,000 people are planning to storm Area 51.
600,000 now?
600,000. Yeah, the number on here is low. Now I want to clarify that there is a group on Facebook that I joined in order to see these posts. It is the They Can't Stop All of Us group on Facebook. And there's over 600,000 people who are at least following this group. And this is a group of people who they're saying they are going to storm Area 51, which Groom Lake, Nevada.
Yeah.
The United States' secret test facility where we designed the stealth bomber, the U-2 spy plane, various sundry other beautiful aircraft like the X-37 space plane that we talked about last week on the show, or 2 weeks ago on the show. Anyways, a large group of alien enthusiasts are planning to uncover the secrets of Area 51 once and for all by storming it because, and I quote, they can't stop all of us.
Oh, man.
What is there to say? I mean,
I don't know. I think it's great.
They are going to be armed with pebbles and what they call Naruto runners.
Yes.
Now, Naruto runners, I learned this the other day. This is from Japanese anime. This is a character that throws up his arms and runs along, flapping them, and supposedly that gives you the ability to run fast enough to dodge bullets.
Oh.
So
great.
I've seen the boys run like that sometimes, and they are not that fast. In fact, I was chasing Myron down last night, and he was doing that, and he was not that fast.
Yeah. He hasn't perfected his Naruto skills yet.
Yeah, apparently has not perfected his Naruto run. So, yeah, thousands of people are supposedly going to do this.
This is just great. I love it so much.
Yeah, make sure you keep talking into that mic. I'm sorry that we've given you such bad equipment over there.
Yeah, I know.
Storm Area 51, they can't stop all of us. The ringleader, which makes me think this whole thing is a hoax. If we Naruto run, we can move faster than their bullets.
Right.
Guys.
But I'm sure there are people that are part of the group that are serious. And if someone on there gives a date and a time. I wonder how many people would show up.
One person commented, "We use the rock throwers and Naruto runners to distract them, and the rest of us go underground." Get the aliens on our side.
They have set a date.
And we have a chance. Yeah, September 20th.
September 20th.
September 20th. Anyways, I'm just saying it's 20 hours.
For their interplanetary war.
I'm just saying it's 20 hours. I would like to be sitting up on one of those hillsides.
Oh, it's funny
watching.
because, they say they're only going to send in a couple thousand people and everyone else gets to watch from the hillside.
All right. Listener Ben from New Jersey suggested he bring a couch and we can chill out on the couch together and watch it.
It's going to be a bunk bed couch?
I'm just saying, if there's a bunch of people going to storm Area 51, they're all going to get absolutely mowed down. I mean, you don't...
Would they actually mow down citizens?
No, that's a good question. That is a really good question.
They'd be in so much trouble. Branded citizens would be too.
Well, right. I mean, number one, they'd be dead. Number two,
yes, but
the PR from that would be terrible.
Yeah, especially if they're only armed with rocks.
I mean,
that's part of the point. They're like, we just want to make them back down. We don't want to actually hurt anybody. And if we get in, maybe we can free the aliens and they'll be on our side.
Yes. Yeah. Right. You think anything exists out there? I mean, do you think that the government's doing this big conspiracy, hiding something from us?
I'm sure there's stuff at Area 51 that would surprise us, but whether it has anything to do with aliens, I don't know.
I mean, I
kind of doubt it.
I watched Independence Day the other day, which great comedy from the.
Yes, it is.
From 1998.
I mean, that's not. I wouldn't say
it's
that's
not really comedy. I guess
comedy.
No, but it's got comedic elements.
Yes, that's kind of like Guardians.
I'm back. Thank you, Randy Quaid.
Shout out to Randy Quaid.
Randy, if you're listening, I really want you on the show. I love you so much.
That was a little awkward.
It really was, but it's true.
Do you follow him on Twitter?
I do.
You should invite him.
I have numerous times. In fact, he's probably just tired of me reaching out to him.
You should keep doing it.
I'm going to. I want Randy Quaid on this show. I think he's a fascinating man, and he moved to Vermont, which I love Vermont. Absolutely love Vermont. Ripton, Vermont. He and his wife moved to Ripton, Vermont. And when they were having all their weird legal issues, when they were like sneaking back into the U.S. from Canada after they went there, it's super weird.
Who knows?
There's citizens sneaking back into the country. Anyways, I want to talk to him. I think he's a fascinating man. He's got some spectacular ideas on conspiracies and stuff. I just want to talk to him about it.
And his portrayal in Independence Day is just spot on.
I have never seen him act in a movie that I haven't liked. I mean, Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
Christmas Vacation. He was cousin Eddie, who showed up in the camper. Just absolute sheer gold. The man's a great man, and we would love to have him on the show.
Him and the dude, huh?
Yeah. I actually would want Randy Quaid on more than I would want.
What is it? Jeff Bridges?
More than I would want Jeff Bridges. Yeah. And I love Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges is amazing. As an actor, Jeff Bridges is a pure genius. But there's something about Randy, Mr. Quaid, if you're listening,
makes him special.
We need you on this show.
There's only one Randy Quaid.
That's right. And there's only one Front Porch show, and we want to invite you, Mr. Quaid, onto our Front Porch. So, Front Porch listeners, if you're on Twitter, hit up Randy Quaid, please. We need your help.
You all want to hear this interview.
We need your help. We need your help. Rating Area 51. Terribly, they're going to be terribly unsuccessful, obviously.
You never know.
But what if
they can't stop everybody?
But what if the government came out and was like, "Hey, okay, look, y'all are going to invade us.
We don't want to kill you.
We don't want to kill you.
We're going to give you a little.
Here's a peace offering." There was a story that came out a couple years back from some Russian intelligence that was released, and it suggested that the Russians were actually behind the events that led to the whole Roswell incident. That they were sending, that they sent children over in strange flying craft that were actually dropped from spy planes way up.
Okay.
And they were just drones. The aircraft were just drones, and so they were dropped from high altitudes and crash landed in different places across the U.S., causing, in order to throw off and cause PR issues. Because if they could distract the public,
but why children?
Because they'd look funny. I guess they were supposedly they were modified surgically to look different.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So, anyways, just a weird theory I heard out there.
And
it was all for PR, and the whole idea was if Russia could attempt to convince the people of the United States of X, what else could they convince the people of the United States of?
Right.
Like Donald Trump being picked by them as president. Seriously, think about it. Think about it.
Massive conspiracy.
But it is.
Tinfoil hats.
No, come on. I'm just saying that, look, if they could convince the populace of America that there's aliens, right? And the entire news media that, my goodness, there are aliens in the United States. Or there's aliens on Earth, okay? If they can convince something like that, all of a sudden they set up these businesses, the Internet Research Group or whatever, who's actively trying to influence social media in the U.S. for both sides. You know, we had the anarchist. I think it was. There was a rally for the anarchist movement across from a Trump rally. Okay, like it was both set up by the same people, right? Both set up by the same Russian people. Okay, organized by them in order to cause division. And so all of a sudden you've got stuff like that. You've got them changing, the narrative on social media, okay? With thousands and thousands and thousands of fake news, fake accounts, fake everything, right?
Yeah.
And so then you convince half of the population that Russia actively worked to get Donald Trump elected, and that Donald Trump accepted the help of the Russians to get elected. What bigger PR, I
don't know. What's next? What would that be a stepping stone to?
But it doesn't have to be a stepping stone. That's my point. Neither one of these things are a stepping stone in and of themselves. It's that you have screwed with the mind of an entire nation.
And that's just knowing that is
just
your
knowing
end goal.
knowing that is the end goal. Because if you can do that, you can do anything.
Well, when the aliens actually come, the jokes will be on them. Yeah.
There you go. So, Randy Quaid, we're waiting for you. 1-402-799-1811. Who else should we have on the show?
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All I gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun? Say yeah!
My theory is it's casting a shadow from the other limb.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff. And it told me to get up in a tree and play a leprechaun.
This wars off smells right here. This is a special leprechaun flute. This has been passed down from thousands of years ago from my great-great-grandfather who was Irish. I just came to help out.
I'm going to run a backhoe and uproot that tree. I want to know where to go. I want to go. Give me the go. I want to go.
Alyssa, when I talk about traveling, what is the worst part of traveling to you? Other than coming home, of course.
The traveling part.
Yeah. Like what's the worst part to you?
Having small children?
Well, like besides the small children part, like
I don't. It totally depends.
Okay, all right.
Travel is very, very broad.
Yeah, I guess I'm talking like international travel.
The worst part.
Yeah, the worst part.
Probably airports.
Okay. I'm going a little bit more specific here, but that's fine. That's obviously the worst part for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't mind necessarily the airport experience. I don't necessarily mind the... I do mind the air travel part because you're crammed in this tiny little seat.
Connecting
for
flights.
hours.
Having to run from one gate to another.
That's always fun. So my grandmother's funeral, I went through Dulles. This was back when I was in college, so 12, 13, 14 something years ago now, right? And we ended up in Dulles. They held the plane for me. It was the last plane of the day from Dulles to Hartford, Connecticut. And they held that airplane for me for about 15 minutes.
Yep.
Those people on that plane were not happy with me when I walked on that airplane. I mean, I just put them 15 minutes behind getting home.
Right.
It was absolutely miserable for them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But no, my biggest hatred of airports is security. The whole security process of, like, I remember flying back when I was young, and there was hardly any issues with security.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember my grandparents meeting us at the gate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And taking us all the way to the gate to say bye.
Right, because there was literally no security.
They're right
at that
there
point.
waving as you're boarding the plane.
But, thanks to 9/11, we now have Homeland Security. And we now have TSA, and we now have excessive security at airports.
Yeah.
Including the nudie scanner, which, don't let anyone tell you that doesn't do what it does. Because it does. Absolutely does. I jump in that thing and they'll see my lead-lined underwear and sits there and scrolls out the Fourth Amendment across it.
There's a market for that.
I know there is. No, I remember going through security once. I don't remember exactly when it was. It was just the two of us flying, and I opted out of going through the scanner.
Yeah.
And they brought over some grizzled old guy, and he was a character in and of himself, and he's like, "So why'd you opt out?" And I was like, "I just don't trust the thing. I don't trust the scanner. I just don't like it. It seems weird to me." And of course, then they have to do the hands down, rub you all over.
Yep.
Make sure you're not hiding anything, and make sure you get a massage while you're at it.
Pat.
And I'm telling him, I'm like, I just don't trust. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I served in Nam, Agent Orange. Enough said." And I'm like, "Oh man,
yeah,
wow." I mean, he's got a point.
Yeah,
he's got a point. But it's
our
still,
government is not beyond
no
evil doing.
No, that exactly. Not to say that in and of itself the nudie scanner is nefarious in a way,
right?
But it's it's definitely invasive, I guess.
Yeah.
So what would you think if I said that facial recognition is coming to an airport near you?
In what sense?
For your ID, for your getting on the airplane, for your boarding, for your, well, basically everything.
Isn't that basically what your ID is?
No.
On paper versus digital.
So this is basically instead of passport scanners, it just does a facial ID.
Yeah,
it uses facial recognition.
Scans your face. So
a lot of people may be alarmed at this, and I don't necessarily like this whole thing. of facial recognition instead of a passport, instead of actually looking at the passport and a person comparing your face. AI is absolutely amazing, but there's certain scenarios where AI is terrible at reading faces. And one of them is actually African-American woman.
Can it mess up on facial recognition?
It messes up on facial recognition.
How?
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know if it's a lighting issue, but for some reason or another, it messes up on dark-skinned women, particularly African-Americans.
Women
in particular.
Not men.
Women in particular.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so it's a little odd. Peculiar, I guess. But we've been dealing with traveling to foreign countries. We've dealt with this before. Germany is a facial recognition thing.
Now? It wasn't when we went.
Yes, it is. Don't you remember standing in front of the camera?
Yeah, that's customs though.
That's going into the country. That's customs.
They take a picture and match it to your passport. They still take your passport.
But it's facial recognition though.
Yeah, but it's not in place of an ID.
No, but they're scanning both. And this isn't in place of an ID either. This is both.
I don't think that's what it said.
They are still scanning both, I believe.
This is in lieu of passport scanning.
It may be, but it's very interesting here as you're reading this. It turns out that a lot of airports are going to this biometric scanning, which is verifying using face scanning technology to verify users' IDs. Delta, JetBlue, American Airlines, and others, they're photographing each passenger while boarding. That image gets compared to one stored in the cloud-based photo matching service, populated with photos from visas, passports, and other related immigration applications. Mm-hmm. And so
they compare it to like your passport.
So they compare it.
And
but
stuff.
obviously, if you show up and you don't have a boarding pass or something, they're not going to let you on.
Part of me is like, that's so redundant because there's already the person there looking at you and looking at your picture.
Well, that's my bigger issue isn't the fact that we're using facial recognition, which I have an issue with, because do you remember watching Minority Report?
Yeah, but to me,
when the guy walks in through the mall and they start advertising things to him,
yeah,
that's coming.
Yeah,
that is coming.
Yeah,
we're going to see that here very shortly. This is just that first step.
Part of me is like, the face is probably your most public part.
Well, yeah, but does that preclude you from having privacy?
Yeah, but anyone can take your picture if you're in public.
Does privacy preclude you from privacy? Does public preclude you from any amount of privacy?
Rephrase that.
Does being in public allow people to scan you and check your data versus other data? So if I walk into a store, does that store have the right to scan my face and say, oh, he's been here before. This is what he's bought before.
Yeah.
We're going to give him ads based on what he bought. And we're going to sell the information to other companies so that they can then sell things to him and advertise to him as he's walking along. Or say you're driving down the highway and billboards change for you.
See, the funny thing is like Hy-Vee Fuel Saver already does that.
Well,
their new system, they look at everything that's on your receipt.
So
and then
grocery stores,
and they tailor make coupons and ads for you.
Yeah, grocery stores do that all the time. Amazon does that for us all the time.
Oh yeah.
But does it rise to the line of creepy when they start going after your personhood? Like they go after your fingerprints, they go after your face, they go after your retina scan in order to target you even more directly.
I don't know.
And then secondly, I think the question we have to ask is security. Privacy. Security being the security of the people who are collecting this data.
Right.
I mean, look, I've been very open about the whole fact that I have no issue with what Amazon's doing because I've given them permission to do so.
Right, and I think that's pretty much any company. Like, I've given Hy-Vee permission because I opted into the Fuel Saver card.
Well, exactly. But the thing with like this, you can't really opt in.
Yeah.
You can say that.
But I mean, the airline is a private company.
You can opt out.
And by flying with them.
I know.
you are saying, okay, I'm going to abide by your guidelines.
I agree. I am very private business. I think private businesses should have the ability to set their own rules for who can shop and who cannot. It's that whole freedom of association thing. I'm a big proponent of that.
See, I wonder,
for better or worse. Because remember, folks, freedom is messy.
Because this is not actually airport security. This is boarding.
This is Customs and Border Patrol in conjunction with
right. But it's the airline.
But it is an attempt.
Is doing this.
It's an attempt to streamline the process and to test it before they actually go for security purposes.
So my question is, how does this help them?
How does it help them? If someone's maybe standing there with a fake...
like, do they think that their people are too stupid to tell if it's the same person as on the ID? And a computer can tell better, so there's going to be less errors? Is that what they're thinking?
I think maybe the issue is that they don't want people to have to spend time going through all these things and that a computer can do it faster.
Yeah, but all they do is literally scan the passport and look at you. Which probably is just as fast as scanning your whole face.
The problem is this. With white men, it's only 99% accurate. When you go darker skin, women with darker skin, the error rate is 35%.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. So think about that.
Weird.
Think about that. Think about that when people are put on the no-fly list.
And I feel like the in-person ID check would have a smaller error rate than that.
It would. It absolutely would.
So what is the point?
Because we're trying to replace everyone with machines nowadays. And I don't know why. They think it's for efficiency purposes.
Money saving? Basically, eventually you won't have anyone at the counter. You just walk up to the machine lets you through?
Probably. That's probably the end goal. I can tell you right now, I probably won't fly if that's the case ever again.
Well, I'm just thinking, what a opportunity for an airline to create a niche market that is freedom.
Oh, I'd absolutely pay for that. I'd pay extra for that.
Yeah.
Just for the ability to actually be served by a person. I do that nowadays anyways.
Yeah.
I do that in my daily life nowadays. I walk into a store, half the time if there's a kiosk to order food, I'll still go up to the counter to order the food.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with a machine.
Well, and even like ordering groceries to go, I just haven't done it because I like going to the store and talking to the people. Like, I know the cash register lady, and she's going to ask me how the boys are doing, and you know,
right.
And it's a good experience for them too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Rather than just pulling up, opening my trunk, and having them put the stuff in.
Yeah, it's so impersonal. It doesn't help any.
Which I can see in certain situations.
Oh, without a doubt, there's certain situations where all of this is beneficial. I think,
but I just haven't done it because.
Yeah. So take for instance when I went flying back to Vermont from Nebraska, and I went through security twice.
Right.
The first time I went through the millimeter wave scanner, and they scanned me, let me through, no problem.
Right.
Jacket on, shoes on, no problems at all.
Yeah.
I went back a second time, same day, because I screwed up on my flight and missed my flight. They ended up booking me on a later flight, so I left security and came back.
We had breakfast.
We had breakfast. I came back a couple hours later and decided to go through security, and at that point in time, I opted out.
Right.
When I opted out, they wanted my shoes off and my coat off, through the machine, and what did they find in my jacket?
The screw.
No, you're missing half of it.
Oh, they didn't find the screw.
They found the screw.
Did they even mention it?
No, they did not mention the screw. I had 6-inch screws that are used to lag down log homes, or 8-inch screws. 8-inch screws that are used to lag down log homes. I had it in my pocket because we were working on a project.
Well, we had just moved, and we had just odds and ends of everything everywhere.
And so I had a 6-inch screw in my pocket. I also had a 9mm round of ammunition.
Yep.
Obviously, you're in a secure part of an airport. You're not supposed to have ammunition. I know that. You know that. Everyone knows that. But I had it.
Oops.
And so, immediately they're like, "Is this your jacket?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And then they're like, "Well, what is this?" As they show me the round of ammunition. And I'm like, "Well, it looks like a round of ammunition." And they're like, "Well, do you own a such and such?" And I'm like, I don't have to answer that. If I do, I don't have it on me. And they're like, well, and by that time there's like 6 cops around me.
Right.
And I'm sweating like a dog. And they're, running me through the, like, well, what, and they're telling me all these horror stories of, well, you may not be able to fly, you may be put on the no-fly list, you may be this. And of course, you have to submit it to them. They have to take it.
Which we never heard about it again.
No, we never heard about it again. They're like, well, nothing could happen, or they could, they could fine you. They could. I think the manager I talked to and got detained by actually got rid of it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, if they look at your records, we did have that. What was the certification when you wanted to reload ammo?
Oh, I had a FFL.
So they would have looked in your records and seen that, and
possibly.
I mean,
possibly.
Duh,
I mean, half the time we fly and I get tested for half the time we get tested and I get tested for, what do you call it? For explosive residue.
Yeah.
That comes back questionable a lot of times, and it's because I reload.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. I'm working with powders. I'm working with what do they call it? Mercury fulminate, which is in primers. Those are explosive substances. And so if I'm shooting or if I'm hunting or something like that, or if I am reloading, I'm getting that stuff on my clothes.
Right.
And it's happening. It's happening. And so I've had a couple times where it comes back as questionable. So it comes back negative, positive, or yeah. And I've had several times where they've come over to me, questioned me again, and pulled me away for separate screening because that's come back funky or something along the lines.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. Whatever. I understand what they're doing there, but it's like, Anyways, with the airport, they didn't tell me anything. They just kind of let me go. They scared the fire out of me, but they never said anything about the 6 or 8-inch lag screws. And they're the lag screws with the pointy screw tips on them. Like, I could have taken those and done heaven knows what kind of damage to anything and anybody, but they had to confiscate the one singular round of ammunition that I did not have a means to fire it. Yeah. But they let me go with my lag screws.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and I think the whole point you were trying to get at was just the inconsistency.
Oh yeah.
And the security. That one time they got it, one time they didn't.
Because I had to have had it in my pocket both times.
Oh yeah.
Had to. There was no way in the 3-hour period that I had transferred it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't possible. And so I guess my question is this facial recognition going to make things more secure? Or is it going to add more complications? Is it going to force more people onto the no-fly list because of the issues with it? I mean, we're talking an arbitrary list here of people who the government just randomly labels as, and you don't know you're on the list until you can't buy a ticket, or
right.
or until you're at the airport and they won't let you through security. You do not know. And so that's super scary. Because all of a sudden your name incidentally matches, a terrorist that they're watching,
mm-hmm.
or some random people that the government doesn't want you to fly. And then good luck trying to get off of it. You have to have like letters from your congressmen and everything else to get off of it.
Yeah.
If that even works. And so I understand the good intentions, but we all know what road is paved with good intentions.
My brother was cleaning up the stalls out there for Troy, working for him. And they called and want me to come around there. Well, when I get there, I realized that they're already drunk. One thing led to another, and before I knowed it, there was knives, guns, everything just went haywire. They cut my beard and forced me to eat it.
And there you have it. Thank you, Texas man, or wherever he's from.
Yep.
Our next story takes us to Texas. Now, this story was a little weird because I fully expected this to happen in Florida. Seemed like a Florida story. Seemed like it seems like a story that just shouldn't have happened. A Texas mother has been arrested after she and her daughter lived in their home with the corpse of the child's grandmother for 3 years. Again, they lived in the two-bedroom house for 3 years. Investigators, there was an investigation into Delisa Creighton's home. She's 47. And police found the skeletal remains of her mother, and they believe they've been there for approximately 3 years. Jocelyn Creighton, 71, suffered some sort of fall in her bedroom in 2016 at the home where she lived with Delisa and Delisa's daughter. And they believe that Delisa did not offer any type of assistance, and that Jocelyn, the grandma, may have died within a few days of being on the floor.
Wow.
The daughter was under the age of 15. They continued to live in the home, and the body remained in one of the bedrooms. What in the world?
How would you deal with that? Like, wouldn't that smell after a while?
I don't know about the smell. I mean, yeah, I would think so. I would absolutely think so. But how do you just reconcile living in the house with a dead body? Like, that's disgusting.
Like, that's someone who's completely apathetic.
Yeah,
like they've lost all. I don't know.
Do you think I can't help but think drugs have to be involved in this situation?
It's definitely possible.
Like the mother just didn't care enough.
Right.
That's so weird. The other, number one, the smell. I mean, is it that the smell wasn't as bad as what the current smell of the house was? Like, seriously,
yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
It's so disturbing. So weirdly.
I'm sure there's a story behind
weirdly
it.
Disturbing. Now, not to leave the weird too fast here. This is another story here out of Venus, Texas.
Okay.
Sheriff's deputies were called to a trailer home on May 6th to perform a welfare check. Once their relatives told officials that a reclusive family member, Freddie Mac, hadn't been seen of or heard since April 19th.
Yep. This was May 6th.
This is May 6th, so a couple weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So the family went to check on the man, but couldn't get close because of 18 aggressive dogs on the property. Deputies were able to distract the animals and search a small section of the property, but didn't find him. 18 dogs, yes. 18 dogs. That's or two is more than enough.
A lot of dogs.
Report was filed, an attempt again to, who visited the property on May 19th. May 19th. But the aggressiveness of the dogs kept them from getting inside the home, so they flew a drone over the property and couldn't find any signs of Freddie Mac. They decided to list him as missing person. They continued to look for the guy, but they always thought it was weird that his dogs were unattended because the dogs were always very close to him.
Yeah.
May 15th, they made
You stay close to 18 dogs.
May
at all times.
15th, they did another search on the property when the detective noticed a small piece of bone on the ground. 2 days later, they executed a search warrant, located a piece of the bone and several other bone fragments. The items were then gathered and sent to the medical examiner's office. May 19th, they ended up seizing all the dogs. A day later, they did a search, and they found strips of clothing. and bone fragments and human hair and fibers.
Lovely.
And they learned that Mac was known to wear a single set of clothing and didn't own any other sets. It's a very odd individual.
Very recluse.
Very recluse, yeah. So yeah, they suspect the dogs may have done something there.
Well, it's funny looking at the picture of this place.
Yeah. That's
it's like we've been to places like that.
We've inspected houses like that before. Yeah.
It's just weird.
So they don't know if the dogs attacked him and he succumbed to injuries.
Right, or that he had an accident.
He had an accident and then the dogs took care of him. The dogs were still really aggressive. They ended up putting down, I read in a different article, they ended up putting down 16 of the dogs and then rehomed 2 of them. So I assume 2 of them were puppies or something, and they just rehomed them.
Yeah.
Assuming that they wouldn't be vicious. But could you imagine being the person who adopts one of those 2?
Ugh.
Like, think about that. Your dog may have. That's just nasty.
Yeah.
Why did we even talk about that?
I don't know.
Why did we even
you
go
bring
there?
that up?
I don't. It was weird enough.
Definitely weird.
So Texas, guys. You guys got to stop acting like Florida. Because this is just wrong. I mean, we love you, Texas. Like on lists of states to live in, you're like top 10.
Yeah.
But Texas, this ain't helping your status here.
Yeah.
It's just not helping.
Got to work on that.
We gotta clean things up in Texas. So work on that for next show. I don't want to see anything out of Texas on the next show. Okay. Chicago, though. Let's say Chicago. What could have possibly been found in Chicago?
I don't know. Chicago's a special place.
Chicago is a very interesting place. I went there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I guess
Like
it's a month now.
Ago.
Month and a half now.
Yeah.
2 months ago, almost. Yeah, month and a half, I guess. Beautiful city. Wouldn't want to live there, but it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. A little questionable. I did not realize they have the International Museum of Surgical Science. I would have actually liked to have gone there.
Interesting.
That would have been cool.
That would have been interesting.
I would have really liked to go there. Now I know for next time.
There you go.
But they also have Humboldt Park.
Okay.
Now Humboldt Park is a park in northwestern, and I say northwestern in a well, Chicago's huge, so it's northwest of downtown, I guess.
Yeah.
And officials confirm that there's been an alligator living in there.
Isn't it a little cold in Chicago for an alligator?
You would think so. Chicago police were called to the 1400 block of North Humboldt Drive about 12:15 after someone called 911 saying they saw a Facebook post of someone saying there's an alligator in the lagoon area. And so Humboldt Park has some beaches. They have gymnasium. They have soccer fields. They have tennis courts. Like it's a legit place. Okay.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like Central Parkish. Okay. Not as big, but yeah, very similar. Anyways, they police independently confirmed that there's an alligator there that was 4 to 5 foot long.
This is great. A volunteer animal expert known as Alligator
Bob. Yeah, Alligator Bob got called, and he helps with exotic animal searches in Chicago. Apparently, now see, the fact that Alligator Bob is in Chicago and is a fixture of exotic animal searches,
right,
says an awful lot here. That somewhat implies that
apparently they have exotic animals on the loose a lot.
Right, which makes me wonder what other exotic animals has Alligator Bob found? He attempted to fish for the alligator. Yeah. They apparently alligators have kind of been in there for a while. It ices over in the winter, so obviously the alligators can't live there year round. But I believe it was the World's Columbian Exposition. They put alligators in there. They put alligators in the lagoon. Yeah, they ended up putting the alligators in there, and then they pulled them out because it was too cold. So this is 1893. They decided that was a bad idea. But yeah, crazy situation there. So they ended up getting the alligator out, catching the gator. Alligator Bob, I think, definitely had a hand to do with that. How weird is that? Weird is that? I mean, you always end up finding. Well, look for instance the situation down in Florida right now, right? Florida has an absolute ton of gators. We saw them driving through Alligator Alley, like hundreds of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
all over the place.
Yeah, they're having a bigger issue with pythons now, and with Burmese pythons and stuff, because people have just dumped them into the environment there, and there's literally nothing to kill them.
Yeah.
And so they have decimated the entire small animal population in the Everglades. There are hardly any small animals left, and they are paying people to kill these snakes. Guys, if you've got an animal that you don't like, do not dump your creature in a pond.
Yeah.
It's
probably not
bad
the smartest
form.
thing to do.
And who hauls an alligator? Who hauls a 4-foot alligator to some lagoon in Chicago and dumps it in there? I mean, who does that? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Seems like you'd be able to make more for it on the internet.
So it's actually illegal to own an alligator there.
It's illegal?
It is illegal unless you have a special permit stating that you can prove that it's being used for educational programs.
Well, I'm sure it was educational to someone, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the alligators being found in places is no rare thing. Alligators are typically found just about everywhere because people dump them in things.
Yeah.
And it happens. I understand that. But, guys, don't be flushing your goldfish and stuff. You don't want them to end up in places. I mean, if they're alive, just like, I don't know.
Find other options.
Yeah, find other options. Don't dump them in the city pond. That's just not cool.
Find your local Alligator Bob.
Yeah, find Alligator Bob. Alligator Bob will take care of them. And I don't think Alligator Bob is like a judging guy. I don't think he'd care if you had a license or not. Just call him up and be like, hey, Bob, take my alligator.
Not exactly.
I don't care. I'm just saying. Just call Bob. He'll take your alligator.
Yes.
Be like, hey, there's an alligator here. Come and get it.
Yes.
Exactly. You don't have to just, I mean, come on, guys. It's not cool. You're going to scare people like me. I mean, I won't step foot in the Everglades because of your snake problem, because of the Florida snake problem.
So in 2008, he rescued an alligator from the Chicago River.
Yeah, I'm honestly not surprised. I think people are just randomly dumping stuff everywhere. And it just so happens that some of these creatures end up surviving. Guys, you don't want to screw up the ecosystem. That's just, it's wrong. It's totally irresponsible. If you have something, don't dump it. It's not funny. It's not cute. Just don't do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Frustrating. Absolutely frustrating. Well, that's it. We hit another week.
And that was a
show's over.
Conglomeration of weird.
It was. I thought it was a great last segment.
Stories.
Thank you guys for listening. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. Check us out on the web, www.thefrontporchshow.com. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram's always got some fun pictures. And listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and a variety of other places where you can hear our beautiful voices and maybe laugh a couple times. I don't know. We'll catch you later, guys. Bye-bye.